Okay. Just a gentle reminder that we begin live streaming before the actual beginning of the meeting. I'm going to start the recording.
All right, Daniel, I think we have the full team. Let me know when we go live.
We are live, and
Are we recording?
yeah, give me 1 second. We are recording as well.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. It's 1:31, and you're here for the Board of Estimate Apportionment meeting. My name is Petrus Hyla. I'm sitting in for our Chief City Auditor, Dorsey A. Poliers. We have our City Treasurer, Darius Shanfar, attending.
No.
We have our Corporation Counsel, Marisa Franchini. We have our Common Council President, Corey Ellis. And I believe for budget, we have Nick Blaze. Is Mike on? Yeah, I believe we have Nick Blaze.
Yep. Yeah, and Mike also expressed that, he at least plans on having me attend on his behalf for the near future.
Thank you for that, Nick. All right, so we'll go ahead and start the meeting. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, excellent. So we'll start with budget transfers for 2020. Our first request is from the Buildings and Codes Department, seeking to transfer $2,860 from their training fund into their contracted services. And this is to correct a deficit balance. Our second request is from DGS, seeking to transfer $741.88 from their contracted services line, more specifically parks and maintenance, into their contracted services line for Capitol Hills. And the purpose of this is to cover 2020 invoices. That's it for our budget transfers for last year. Our next topic will talk increased appropriations for the year 2020. We have one request from Buildings and Regulatory Compliance seeking to increase their civilization and demolition fees account by $107,175, and they're increasing their expense account by that same dollar figure. And the purpose of this is to have monies needed to pay for outstanding emergency demolition completed in 2020 for the attached listing. I do want to point out in the tentative agenda that I sent earlier today, this number was a little higher. The Buildings and Regulatory Compliance provided me the updated document, so I'll make sure to include that in the final email sent. Let me know if anyone has any questions regarding that. All right, so moving over to budget transfers for 2021. Our first request is from Administrative Services seeking to transfer $13,500 from their contingency account into their contracted services. Purpose of this to cover New York Power Authority invoices for the New York Energy Manager software. Second request is from Buildings and Regulatory Compliance, seeking to transfer $128,300 from their contracted services, more specifically Housing Community Development line, into Contracted Services Division of Buildings. The purpose of this is that Cities Rise grant money for rental assistance will now be administered by Buildings and Regulatory Compliance instead of ACDA. Our third request is coming from DGS, seeking to transfer $18,000 from their overtime account, more specifically maintenance of streets, and it'll be going into two separate accounts. 16,000 of that will be going into their Capitol Hills overtime account, and the remaining 2,000 will be going into their administrative overtime account. And the purpose of this is to cover overtime for the rest of the year. Fourth request is coming in from DGS, seeking to transfer $80,000 from their maintenance of streets hospital medical insurance line, and it'll be going into their Capitol Hills hospital medical insurance line. And the purpose of this is to cover medical insurance for the Capitol Hills Gold Course for the year. Our next request is from Planning and Development, seeking to transfer $60,645 from their salaries line into their contracted services. Purpose being to cover consultant services for highly technical work that cannot be done by their current staff. And our last request for budget transfer request is from Summer Youth Employment Program, seeking to transfer $60,000 from their salaries line into a new temporary help account line. And this is to cover salaries for temporary employees. Before I move over to increase appropriations for 2021, any questions? All right. So for increased appropriations, we have three requests, all three coming from the Water Department. The first request is seeking to increase their unassigned fund balance revenue account by $25 million, and seeking to increase a handful of expense accounts by that same dollar amount. And you could see those multiple accounts, I believe, in the supporting documentation, but I could also pull it up real quickly. Let me make sure it's for the same one. Yes, so here it is, that 25 million coming from unassigned, and we have a handful of accounts that's for the expense side. Our second request is coming in from the Water Department also, seeking to increase that unassigned fund balance revenue account by $5,524,574. And similar to the first one, there's a handful of expense accounts that will be increased by that same dollar amount. Purpose being the rolling over open capital POs from 2020 to 2021. And I believe we do have Tom from the water department on, so please let me know if we have any specific questions.
I'm just wondering, it's a lot of money to be moved. How come, what's the necessity for it?
Sure. Is this in terms of the 25 million or the 5 million, Darius?
Both. I just like to
Yeah.
have a little more. I just want to have a little bit more on record here.
Sure, absolutely. For the 25 million, we just issued a new bonded money for 25 million to fund projects over the next 3 years. This is to bring in those funds. I believe the city recognizes it a little bit differently, where they recognize it as revenue. Our auditors prefer to have it in as an increased appropriation. As far as the rolling capital POs, we had open capital POs at the end of 2020 for projects that are still ongoing, totaling the 5.5 million. This is just to get those funds over to 2021 so we can continue working on those projects until they complete.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tom.
I just have a question also. Why does it say then the 25 million is for advertisement, fund projects for advertisement?
I apologize. That comment must have been held over from a previous budget transfer. We will need that money in our accounts in order to advertise for the $25 million worth of projects we expect to incur in the next couple of years. So in order to advertise for those projects, we did need to bring the funds into the expense account.
Any other questions? All right, thank you again, Tom. Our last increased appropriation request is also from the water department, seeking to increase their New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation revenue account by $1.6 million. And then we have that same dollar amount for the two separate expense accounts, $760,000 for the Furo Bush filtration plant account, and the remaining $840,000 for the supply route reservoirs expense account. And this is to recognize grant and cost for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund project. Any questions regarding that last request?
Yeah, why is the bottom line when it says total 1.6 million and not total 30 something million at the bottom when it says total?
Are you referring to this amount?
See, this is 1.6 million. So when I look at total, when I'm reading this, if it's the total for the water department, it's more than 1.6 million. Why isn't that all added up and on that line, underneath that line?
Oh, so for that total dollar amount, it's more to add up the two expense accounts for that $1.6 million expense increase. It's not the total for all three requests.
I know, I understand that. I don't understand that, but when I do, expenses and that, once you put a line there and you put total and you have them all under one department, that total line usually means the total amount, not for one specific amount in that line.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so I could definitely
for me,
modify
that's
that
how,
going forward.
once you put that line there, it says total, because you didn't do it for the other two, so why would you do it for that one? So either you put the total amount in, or you strike that total amount line out and put the whole total, because it's in the same department. These are not three, it's the same department.
I see what you're saying. No, I completely understand that.
I think the lines there just to total the two transfers together.
Correct. So
I see that.
Yeah. So
but how it reads, right? Once I see a total line, that means the total of all those in that department.
I see what you're saying. And then our last request for common council resolutions and ordinance, we have one local law J, and I could go ahead and share that with the group. It's a local law amending article, I believe that's 44 of part 33 of chapter 42 of part 1 of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to the operation of the CPRB. Danielle or Common Council President, would either of you be able to expand on that?
Sure. It's just a local law we passed. And in that local law, we were requiring that 1% of the budget, police budget, go towards funding the new CPRB and their new roles, as accordingly to when what their board puts together.
So,
And also the CPRB. Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I just think that approving this is a little bit premature. It hasn't been signed by the mayor or enacted into law, and in fact, it's subject to referendum. So I don't think we should be approving budgetary amounts in the non-context, outside the context of the budget, first of all, and without the law even being in effect yet.
I can remove it and then reintroduce it at the ENA meeting after the public hearing and then subsequent filing of local law J, if it so pleases the committee.
Sure. I would be in favor of that.
Well, if that's I'm just going by the legal opinion. That's our Corporation Council legal opinion, that we shouldn't act on this until after it is, passed by the voters.
So if the full board,
That's what our Corporation Council is saying, right?
Yeah, I just think it's a little premature. I'm not saying we shouldn't approve it or anything. I just think we should hold off.
So would it be most appropriate to reintroduce it after its public hearing and filing, or after the referendum? Because I think the referendum won't happen probably until November, right?
Right.
Yes.
Maybe we can have another discussion offline about when it should be reintroduced.
Beautiful.
thank you. All right, so excluding local law J, is there a motion to move the agenda?
I'll move the agenda as amended.
And I will second it.
Thank you, Marisa. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Those in favor say aye,
Aye.
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 and those opposed say nay. And the motion carries. The agenda has been approved as amended.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
All right, those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Thank
Aye,
you
sorry.
thank you very much. We'll pass it over to our team over at the city clerk's office.
Beautiful. So good afternoon. Today, I'm kind of sort of a team of one plus, I have someone else from the department assisting. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, March 2nd meeting of the Board of Contract and Supply. Present, we have Nicholas Blaze, Marisa Franchini, Darius Shahanfar, Randy Milano, and I do not see Frank Zioli or Sergio Panunzio. The following was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids on behalf of the Albany Water Board for the following: the Alcove Reservoir Sodium Permanganate System. Bids to be received at the Tuesday, April 6th meeting of 2021. The following was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids on behalf of the Albany Water Board for the following: the Fiora Bush Water Filtration Plant Electrical Upgrade. Bids to be received at the Tuesday, April 6th, 2021 meeting. Next, we have resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids for the following: the roadway striping 2021, various locations throughout the city of Albany. Bids to be received at the Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 meeting. The following resolution was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes award of the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 5, general construction to WMJ Keller and Sons Construction Corp. in the sum of $26,950,230, pending final approvals from the new NYSDEC and NYSEFC. The following resolution was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes award of the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 3, Beaver Creek Diversion Tunnel to WMJ Keller and Sons Construction Corp. in the lump sum amount of $5,770,000, pending final approvals from NYSDEC and NYSEFC. Mr. Milano offered the following: resolved that the bid of the following named bidder be accepted and the contract awarded to them at and for the prices specified in their proposal, they being the lowest qualified bidder, and that's for the street resurfacing and sidewalk reconstruction project year 2021, and the lowest bidder, Peter Luisi and Bros Contracting, Inc. The sum is $3,356,216. Mr. Milano also offered the following: resolved that the bid of the following named bidder be accepted and the contract awarded to them for the Lincoln Square basketball courts to Peter Luisi and Brothers Contracting, Inc. The total amount is $801,000. The following resolution was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes change order 1C-04, reduction to the Fiora Bush water treatment plant employee and public space improvement projects with Collett Mechanical in the amount of $783.41. The new contract value is $1,378,212.07. The following was also offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes change order 2A to the Fiora Bush Water Filtration Plant Sedimentation Building Renovation Project with VMJR Companies, LLC, increasing the contract amount by $39,456. The new contract value is $5,204,824. And the new contract completion date is June 30th of 2021. The following was also offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes change order number 1 to the AWB Water and Sewer Improvements with WMJ Keller and Sons Construction Co. in the amount of $255,357.49, including an extension in contract time. The new contract amount is $1,469,971.49 with a completion date of May 31st of 2021. The following was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to reject all bids received on February 4th, 2021 for the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 5, the HVAC aspect. That concludes the items that I had on today's agenda. Can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second. Can I have a meeting to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all so very much. Have a wonderful